What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today it's time to take a look at Lorcana. Specifically, the first chapter, the first set, which is, well, depending how you look at it, it's out now in local game stores. It's not out now in big box stores, mass retailers, etc., but it will be very soon, so I'm going to leave it up to you as to whether you think the game is out yet or not. But it is at least out enough that we have a bunch of information, we have a bunch of card prices, and we can look at the most expensive cards in the first chapter, and I, for one, am very, very excited. Now, it's not going to surprise most of you to learn that the most expensive cards are these enchanted rares. And we need to start off quickly by looking at the two that don't make it, and that is Mickey Mouse Artful Rogue and Simba Returned King. Worth noting, both of these are very, very close. There is really not much to choose between 8, 9, and 10 and the two that didn't make the list. When we get to 7, it starts ramping up a little bit, and then when we get to 5, that's where it really starts ramping up. So I just want to make you aware that if you pulled an enchanted rare and it's Mickey Mouse Artful Rogue or Simba Returned King, no, you haven't got one of the top 10 cards on the list, but you are not far off at all. So in at number 10, we've got Hades, King of Olympus, which is coming in at around about somewhere in the region of about $120. Bearing in mind, like I say, the game is, just quite new, and we need to be careful about prices here because they are going to fluctuate pretty wildly. That is pretty important. But this is the one, weirdly enough, it's actually from the gift set, but it's got an enchanted rare in the set proper, which is kind of weird and interesting. And this is the one that's got shift 6, so you can pay 6 to play this on top of an existing Hades, and this character gets +1 lore when you quest for each other villain character you have in play. Doesn't take a genius to figure out that pretty quickly that is going to be questing for a lot. Now, in at number 9, we've got Maui, maybe my favourite, in terms of characters at least, of these enchanted rares, and this one's coming in at somewhere in the region of, see, this one's kind of hard to figure out. I'm putting this one again at about, let's put it at 122, just so we can separate it from Hades, but it is very, very close. Now, this is the one with Rush and Reckless. Rush says that you can challenge a turn your play, generally you have to wait, and Reckless says that you cannot quest, and you have to challenge every turn if you can. Maui is here to smash. Simple as that. No mucking about, no being silly. You are here to smash, not to quest, but in the right deck, this clearly works beautifully. In at number 8, we've got Genie. I'm putting Genie at like $124 just because we have to separate these out a little bit. Like I say, the bottom of this list gets very, very, very close together, and it could easily be that give it a week and Mickey Mouse and Simba are actually on this list and a couple of these characters aren't. It is very close to the bottom of the list. Although I will say right now, all the enchanted rares are all rocking like about $120 or more, which is lovely, but again, we've not seen the full release yet, so let's not get too excited. And Genie quests for 2, which is quite nice. And we've got Evasive, can only be challenged by characters with Evasive, which helps. And Disappear, when you play this character, you may return a chosen character to their player's hand. Well, if it's questing for 2, and it's got Evasive, and you get to bump one of your opponent's characters back to their hand, this seems like a pretty good thing to me. Now, in at number 7, and this is really the last one before we start jumping up quite a bit, at $135, we've got Aladdin Heroic Outlaw. Now, we got Shift 5, we've got 2 lore when you quest, and during your turn, whenever this character banishes another character in a challenge, you gain 2 lore, and each opponent loses 2 lore. And this is why Aladdin is kind of the start of things building up a little bit. You get 2 when you quest, but honestly, questing should be your last port of call with Aladdin. Because if you can challenge and banish a character, you get 2 lore, same as if you would have quested, and your opponent loses 2 lore, so you got a 4 lore swing there. We don't have enough lore control in set 1 for my liking. If you look at a game like Keyforge, which had a similar win mechanic, there was a lot more, Amber control back then. But the point is, I think this is going to be a card we're going to see a lot of. Now, in at number 6, we've got Aurora, and this is where we really start seeing a bit of a change. Aurora comes in at about $150. We're using TCG Player, also using things like eBay. We're looking around everywhere here, but like I say, these are very much subject to change. And Aurora again gets 2 lore when you quest. You've got Shift Free. The card designers love giving the alternate art to cards with Shift. And Protective Embrace, your other characters gain ward. Be very careful with the wording here. It says your other characters, ergo it does not actually work on Aurora. Ward says opponents can't choose them except to challenge. But it means that if your opponent wants to use skills to try and choose your characters to return them to hand, etc., think the kind of thing that Genie does, well, they can't actually choose anyone but Aurora if you've got Aurora out, which is kind of awesome. And presumably, if you got 2 Aurora out, they would each protect each other, and then you would have complete immunity, and it would be amazing. Yay! Now, in at number 5, we've got Tinkerbell coming in at about $195, and you can already see, the lower 3 on the list are all around $120. We get up to number 5, and we're up to $195. There has been a jump. And I do love the artwork on Tinkerbell. This one looks really cool. But this is one of my playability-wise favourite cards in the first chapter. It's great. Now, we get 2 lore when we quest, which is fine. We got Shift 4, again, the card designers love Shift. But we've got Rock the Boat. When you play this character, deal 1 damage to each opposing character. And I love this, ladies and gentlemen. We've got really good 1-cost characters like Lilo making a wish. Well, yeah, that's going to go down, ladies and gentlemen, because that's a 1-cost character that can quest for 2. That shouldn't surprise anyone. That's really good. But this will then bump stuff like that. And then you can sit there and be like, oh, were you looking forward to playing your Lilo, were you? Ha! Gutted. Lilo's gone. Nice. This is good. So yeah, Tinkerbell really good. Also, Puny Pirate, during this turn, whenever this character banishes another character in a challenge, you may deal 2 damage to a chosen opposing character. So not only do you get to deal damage when you come into play, which is really good, you also get to deal damage when you banish in a challenge. Tinkerbell, it's not like a full-on board wipe. Let's not pretend it's an actual board wipe, but it is not a million miles away. Now, we just mentioned Lilo, but in at number 4, we've got Stitch, Carefree Surfer. Now, again, we've got 2 lore when we quest. That's something we see a lot on these enchanted cards. We've got awesome artwork, and we do need to bear in mind, Lilo and Stitch are very, 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 very popular. More so than a lot of the other characters on this list, with one big exception. And when we're looking at prices, there are basically 3 things we're looking at. The artwork, the playability, and the desirability of the character. They are the things which are going to push these cards up. It is not just a hard and fast rule that the best cards are going to be the most expensive, although that will factor in. People love Lilo and Stitch. Simple as that. But it's also a really good skill here. When you play this character, if you have 2 or more characters in play, you can draw 2 cards. And like a lot of card games, Lorcana is one where draw power's kind of rubbish, honestly. So being able to draw 2 when you play this is kind of awesome. Oh, and I don't think I actually said yet, but Stitch is coming in here at $205, which is obviously gigantic. Now, in at number 3, we've got my personal favourite card playability-wise from the first chapter. We've got Belle coming in at about $210. Yeah, that's pretty expensive, ladies and gentlemen. That's pretty gosh darned expensive. Now, $210, what we're looking at here is read a book. During your turn, you may put an additional card from your hand into your inkwell face down. Yet you get an extra ink every single turn. That is absolutely patently absurd. You've then got my favourite part. While you have 10 or more cards in your inkwell, bearing in mind that's going to happen pretty quickly because of your first skill, read a book, this character gains +4 lore when you quest. So you're questing for 5, and you're getting an extra ink every turn. This looks full-on broken. Now, in at number 2, we've got Mickey Mouse Wayward Sorcerer. Artful Rogue Mickey didn't get on the list. This Mickey absolutely does. difference, this Mickey's way better. It's about a $220 card as it stands at the moment, although I will say the latest sales for this on TCG Player are a fair bit higher, so I'm putting this at about $220 at the moment. But there are a bunch of recent sales that are a fair bit higher. Please do bear that in mind as we go through this. It is the first card on the list where the recent sales are drastically different to the price I'm giving you. All the others, they're all roughly in line, a little bit of a change here or there. But the latest sales that we have a look for Mickey here are $330, $325, and $320. So there is a chance, this according to TCG Player of course, there is a chance this Mickey is about to jump up. What I will say is, if it jumps up, it's still going to be the number 2 card. The position here for Mickey is set at number 2, and at the moment it really is a very clear number 2. No danger of dropping a free, no danger of jumping up to number 1. But this is the first card on the list where the TCG Player recent sales are drastically different to what we're seeing in other places and the market price on TCG Player, etc. So I'm putting it $220 at the moment, but I'm also warning you this is due for potentially a jump of around $100. You have been warned. This one is 2 lore when you quest. You pay 1 less to play Broom characters. Now, I've heard some people think Broom is really good in set 1. I've heard some people suggest that we need another set before Broom is going to get really good. But this is definitely a deck which is there or thereabouts. And whenever one of your Broom characters is banished in a challenge, you may return that card to your hand. If Broom is ever a decent archetype, this is going to be a play as many as you're allowed kind of card. This is going to be an absolute staple in those decks, so this one is going to be good for a while. And then at number 1, we got Elsa. Now, Elsa is another one that is due for a jump. At the moment, I'm putting it at about $390, looking at TCG Player and other places. But I have seen sales as high as like $450 lately, so I feel pretty good about $390. It's not about to jump like Mickey looks like it's about to jump. However, it is worth bearing in mind that this particular card could be on the way for a jump. And the thing is, Elsa is a very good card. You get free lore when you quest, that's really good. Shift 6, again, they love shift. And Deep Freeze, when you play this character, exert up to 2 chosen characters. They can't ready at the start of their next turn. So you get to basically take 2 characters off the board for a turn, which is great. Again, plus you're questing for free. However, we do also need to bear in mind that Elsa is phenomenally popular. Of all the characters on this list, by far the most popular character, and I don't think that's a stretch. So when we're looking at the price of Elsa here, partly we're looking at it's a great card, and that's fair. But we're also looking at the fact that this is a card that it's Elsa. And people love Elsa. Please bear that in mind. This is going to bump the price up of Elsa a fair bit for until the end of time. Or until people stop liking Frozen, which I don't think is going to happen anytime soon. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Those are your top 10. Those are the cards you want to be pulling, and I wish you all luck. Look, if you're watching my video and you've stayed this long in the video, that makes you one of my favorites. So you personally, I wish you great luck in pulling these cards. And wish me luck as well, because I'm going to start busting in some Lorcana soon, and I am very excited. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know what you think about this. I want to know which of these cards you pulled. I want to know which of these cards are your favourite. I want to know anything you want to tell me. So let me know in the comment section, would you? Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at The Wazzy. That's where we talk Lorcana and a bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wazzy Plays.